Good morning, good morning, good morning. Coming to you from my bed, which is why I look so fabulous. I hear a lot of people who say that they worry about what what people will think of them, what they look like on social media. Okay. The wonders of EFT. You stop caring. Speaking of EFT, I would like to answer a question that I often get asked at workshops when people first meet EFT or tapping. And that is, why do we say negative stuff? Doesn't that mean that we are tapping negativity in? And it's a very, very common fear. It's a very common concern. So I thought I'd jump on and address it thusly. So the reason we get a bit hot and heavy with the negatives with EFT, certainly to start with, is because EFT works the best when you speak the unspeakable, when you think the unthinkable. Because the reality is we're thinking it. We know we shouldn't be. Shouldn't be thinking that. But we are. We are. And the more we resist that, the more we push that down, the more of a problem it becomes, because what you resist persists. So one of the biggest points of EFT is to get the shit up so you can let go of it. As Louise Hay very famously once said, honey, to clean your house, you have to see the dirt. And that's what we're doing with the negative statements. And we are starting to get rid of the resistance with the setup statement. Now, the setup statement is a statement you say when you're tapping on your karate chop, that fleshy outside edge of your hand. And we say a statement, even though. And then we say the challenge or the negative emotion or whatever it is that's getting in the way. And then we follow that up with a positive. So, for example, even though I am feeling really anxious about not having enough money, I choose to accept myself anyway. Say, what? The purpose of the setup of that statement is to give yourself permission for whatever it is that's going on, for whatever it is that you're feeling. Yes, even though I feel like shit, even though this shitty thing is going on, that's okay. I accept myself anyway. Or if that's too much for you to say, I'm open to accepting myself anyway. And it essentially bamboozles your brain. Your brain has been thinking, must resist. And then you say, yes, I feel this, but it's okay. And your brain goes, oh, okay. And it starts to release, starts to let go. It begins to let the healing happen quicker, for want of a better term. So we start it with that. We start the process with that. And then we move into the round, which is the eyebrow up through to the top of the head. And during that, we are saying negative things. We're saying negative affirmations. Because the reality is, every single emotion is allowed. And you need all the emotions. How can you feel happy if you don't know what sad feels like? How can you feel lack if you don't know what abundance feels like? How can you feel pleasure if you don't know what pain feels like? So often, I was having a call with a client the other day, so often people think that they are broken because they're feeling the negative thing. My argument to that is that actually having that negative thing makes you whole. You've got to have two sides of the coin. There's yin, there's yang, there's masculine, there's feminine, there's light, there's dark. If you didn't have the negative side, then maybe you'd be broken, then maybe a bit worried. Oh, psycho. Psycho. You've got to have both halves to have a whole. And it's only us that label our emotions. Actually, the chemical response is the same. Excitement and anxiety are the same reaction, they're the same physical reaction. If you were to take the context away and just concentrate on the physical reaction, you will notice they feel the same. I challenge you. Don't take my word for it. Think about what anxiety feels like. Think about what excitement feels like. And the only thing that affects those physical feelings is the story we tell ourselves around what's happening and what we're making it mean about us. Yes, fingers, I agree. The physical reaction is the same. We're the ones that label this emotion is bad, this emotion is good, and this emotion is bad because I'm making the situation mean something about me. I'm telling myself a story. And I'm making it a not very nice one. Based on all sorts of things, you know. So the purpose, I'll get back on track, the purpose of the negative affirmations is to bring these feelings up into the light because we don't like to feel them. Yes, okay, it makes me whole, but I don't like feeling anxious. I don't like feeling sad. I'd much rather feel excited and happy. And because I don't want to feel it, because I've labelled it and given it a meaning, so I don't want to feel it because then it means something about me and I don't like that. I push it down. I push it away. I deny it. I say, la 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 la. I can't see you, you can't see me. And so it festers. Because when we push these emotions out and we swallow our emotions, and a lot of my clients get something going on with their throat when we're working. When we swallow this shit, it does get trapped in the body. The body keeps the score. And it festers away because we're denying it. We think that if we can just pretend it's not there, it's going to go away. How often does that happen? So the purpose of the negative affirmations and tapping is to bring that up, is to allow us to see it in a way that is, I'm going to say controlled. It's not the word I'm looking for. But when you tap, when you do EFT, what EFT does is it turns off your stress response. So it allows you to bring these emotions up in a very safe, that's the word I'm looking for, in a very safe way that doesn't take you over. Because there's a big fear from a lot of people that if they allow themselves to start to feel the emotions that they've kept buried and suppressed, they're going to overwhelm them. They're going to end up drowning in these emotions. So there's a fear around looking at them, around feeling them. Now, I'm not going to lie. When you start looking at them with EFT, you can get the surge of emotion. which is a stress response. What does EFT do? Turns off your stress response. So the surge can be quite quick. It can be a little longer, depending on what it is, but because you're keeping on tapping, it dies down. It starts to release. It starts to stop feeling so overwhelming. And that's when people go, there's this big sigh. Big breath comes out. They don't even know they're doing it. There's big breath that comes up as their body starts to relax. But unless you use the negative affirmations, the negative words to bring the thing up, that's not going to happen. Well, this isn't to say you can't do positive tapping. You absolutely can do positive tapping. I'm so awesome, I'm so great, I'm so abundant. Whoa. It's going to feel amazing, it's going to feel wonderful, it's going to really G you up. But it's not actually addressing or bringing up the negative shit. So whilst you can do the positive affirmations, and in fact I actively encourage, once you get your stuff down to a certain level, put some positive affirmations coming in with tapping, is really, really cool, because it replaces it. Nature abhors a vacuum. So if you take out all the negative shit, you're left with a vacuum going on. So put some positive shit, so put some empowering stuff on top of it. But don't do that too quickly. You've got to clear the shit, you've got to clear the negative shit out first. So positive tapping, I do liken it to polishing a turd. It's going to look all shiny and nice on the surface, but it's a lot of shit underneath, and it's the shit we want to get to, because it's still a turd. Doesn't matter how shiny it is. So when you are doing tapping for yourself, please don't be afraid of getting hot and heavy with the negative affirmations. Say it as it is. I can't do it. I'm not special enough. It's going to be too hard. I'm scared I'm going to get too busy. I'm actually scared of getting too successful. I'm really worried about X, Y, Z. It's making me feel blah, blah. Say it as it is. Take all the negative stuff that your inner voice is going at you with, or sometimes at you with, and speak it. Speak it as you tap. And when I'm describing this to clients, if I'm giving them some homework to do with this, because I do, I love giving homework. You've got to get kicks where you can. I love giving homework. I often describe it as, think of a time when you've been talking to someone and they have been not listening. They've not been listening. It's very obvious they're not listening, and you're talking to them. So recall that time. We've all had it. Recall that time where you were talking to someone and they weren't listening. How did that make you feel? It pisses me off. It really pisses me off. Pisses me off. How rude. How rude. So I talk a bit louder. Maybe I get a bit closer. I get a bit more insistent. When you try to ignore your inner voice and the feelings behind it, you're ignoring it. And it's pissing it off. You know how that feels. So it gets louder, it gets more persistent. So what will happen if you just turn and go, okay, I hear you. I hear you, I'm listening, tell me. And it kind of goes, okay. And it's an interesting thing when I ask people, we go through some tapping, we do some statements, and I say, what's your inner voice saying to that? And they go, it's gone completely quiet. Interesting. Would you like to have your inner voice go completely quiet? The peace. It's because you're starting to listen to it. Doesn't mean you have to believe it. Doesn't mean you have to take the action that it's saying, but you're listening to it. Saying, yeah, I hear you. I don't agree with you, but I hear you. That's okay. This is what we're thinking. That's all right. There's no shame in that. However, what if we do this other thing? What if we feel this other way? You've got to acknowledge it first. You've got to accept it first. All the tussle, all the turmoil inside us comes from the fact that we are not accepting something. And by accepting, I don't mean roll over and take it. I mean acknowledge it's there. So to recap, the reason we use negative affirmations when we are tapping is to bring up the crap that we have been suppressing and ignoring. I'm going to bring it up and let it go in a very safe way that doesn't involve lots of overwhelm. And that actually works really quickly. It can be so fast. So have a little play with that. Have a lovely rest of your Friday. Whilst I remember. On Monday the 4th of December. Where did Wednesday come from? Monday the 4th of December is the start of my 7-day Abundance Activation Challenge. Woo! I'm going to be sharing my morning and evening rituals, my tapping, my visualizations. There's also going to be some bonus resistance release tapping in there as well. There's going to be lots of accountability. I'm going to start getting into the habit of these morning and evening rituals, so to start to expand our abundance container so that we can attract and retain more abundance. Because if your abundance container is size 20k, but you want 100k, you can only fit 20k in here. Where does the rest of it go? Oh, it's gone. So a huge part of this is to expand your abundance container, and also to deal with the negative thoughts and beliefs first. To really take a look at those and start to release them to allow our container to expand. And then using the visualization to come in, the meditative visualization in the evening, to get ourselves on the same frequency as abundance, and then we go to sleep, and it allows our unconscious mind to keep working on it to figure out ways we can do that. I noticed when I started this morning and evening ritual, I noticed massive shifts. Not immediately. We live in an instant gratification culture. Doesn't always work like that. But after I gave it a bit of time, I noticed some significant shifts doing this. So I am sharing it. If that is of interest, because I'm not actively advertising it, it's just at the moment it's just gone out to my mailing list. But if that's of interest, please drop me a message and I will send you the link so you can have a look at a bit more information around it. And if you fancy it, you can sign up. If you don't fancy it, you don't have to. It's absolutely fine. So let me know. So thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you soon. Doodles!